Top stories this week in the WINN Weekender. Tragedy hits St. Christopher Air and Seaports Authority after unfortunate accidents claim 3 lives. Police in Nevis foil robbery attempt after shootout in Barnes Gut. And St. Vincent and the Grenadines Prime Minister Dr. Ralph Gonsalves blames the St. Kitts and Nevis opposition for the delay in the tabling of the motion of no confidence. Welcome to the WINN Weekender, a comprehensive recap of some of the major stories making the news this week. I'm Tony Frederick Armstrong. 2 men lost their lives Wednesday afternoon when a boat they were on capsized at Bastier's Port Zante just after 5 o'clock. The bodies of SCASPA employee Rudolph Dowell Daniel of Ponds Extension and Maxwell Brown of New Road, an employee of Horsford's, were retrieved by local divers from the water in the berthing area where the vessel capsized. Minister with responsibility for the Air and Seaports Authority, Senator Richard Skerritt, made a brief statement to the press on Thursday afternoon.
It took place in the berthing area of the Port Zante cruise pier when a small motor vessel capsized, resulting in the deaths of the 2 persons on board, Mr. Rudolph Dowell Daniel of Ponds Extension and Mr. Maxwell Brown of New Road. The bodies of Mr. Dowell Daniel and Mr. Brown were retrieved by divers from the area where the vessel capsized. The deceased SCASPA employee, Mr. Dowell Daniel, with the support of the launch captain, Mr. Brown, had been in the process of releasing lines for the 5 p.m. departure of one of the 2 cruise ships which visited our port yesterday.
Minister Skerritt indicated that the cruise line would be providing support to the investigation.
Shortly after yesterday's incident, I engaged by telephone with a senior official of the ship's owners in Miami, Florida, who have pledged to do all they can to assist local police with the investigations related to this horrible incident. Video footage from the security camera system of the second berthed cruise ship, which was due to leave port 1 hour later, will be made available by early next week for review by the Royal St. Christopher Nevis Police Force. I'm also aware that the masters of both ships have already emailed their written reports on the incident. I must also let you know that 2 maritime safety officials of Royal Caribbean Cruise Lines, the owners of the 2 cruise ships, are expected to arrive here within the next few days to assist police and maritime officials with the local investigation, which is ongoing.
Eyewitnesses say that the ship either clipped the smaller vessel or it was struck by a rope. The press was told that as the incident was under investigation, no questions would be entertained following the briefing, but that questions could be sent in writing to the Corporate Affairs and Public Relations Department. As such, WINN FM has written to the authority to inquire about, among other things, the training of pilots at the port, whether the pilot in the wheelhouse on Thursday afternoon had given full clearance for the boat to pull away from the berth, and what procedures are used before a vessel unberths. Meantime, at Thursday's press briefing, Minister Skerritt also gave an update on the investigation into the death of SCASPA maintenance worker Askio Farrell, also known as Askio Williams, whose body was found in an elevator shaft at the RLB airport on Sunday.
Mr. Williams had last been on scheduled duty for SCASPA on Friday and had been reported missing over the weekend by his family. As you know, the first media release on that incident was made on Sunday afternoon by the Royal St. Christopher Nevis Police Force, who are still in the process of conducting their investigation into circumstances which led to the death of Mr. Williams.
An autopsy conducted on Sunday indicates that he died from trauma due to crushed ribs.
SCASPA management made contact on Monday, the day after the body was discovered, with a company in North America that specializes in risk assessment surveys for the insurance industry. This company comes highly recommended by SCASPA's insurance brokers, RMIG, and is completely independent. An expert from that company is scheduled to arrive on St. Kitts tomorrow, Friday, for an initial period of 5 days, during which time he will be conducting interviews and gathering information required for his review and analysis.
A cotton-grown man was this past week under police guard at the Alexandria Hospital in Nevis after he was shot in the foot by an officer during what is believed to have been an attempted robbery early Wednesday morning. 2 other men from the cotton-grown Jessops area are also in police custody in relation to the incident. The 3 are said to be between 20 and 30 years old. Reports reaching WINN FM indicate that 2 police officers on patrol Wednesday morning were approaching the Barnesgut area just after 6 o'clock when they spotted a makeshift roadblock. Up ahead, they came across the 3 armed masked men who reportedly ran toward their vehicle. The officers jumped out of the car and fired at the men who fled into the bushes. Searching the gut, they discovered the injured man. The officers are believed to have foiled an attempted robbery of the Nevis Bakery van, which approached the area within minutes of the confrontation between the police and the gunmen. The van was robbed on Saturday, March 29th at around 11 o'clock in the morning in the Hanleys Road area by a sole masked gunman who is reported to have made his getaway through a cemetery. Wednesday morning's incident comes less than 12 hours after 3 armed masked men robbed Fanny's store on Old Hospital Road in Charlestown. WINN FM understands that sometime after 8 o'clock on Tuesday night, the gunmen entered the shop, ordered everyone inside to lie on the floor, grabbed the cash pan and made their getaway. That robbery comes just days after a local businessman was robbed at gunpoint at his Jessops Village home. WINN FM understands that Brian Buju Powell, the proprietor of Buju's Snacket on Main Street, was at home with his stepdaughter on Friday when 2 gunmen entered the house, holding them at gunpoint and demanding money. They fled with an undisclosed sum, jewelry, and a mobile phone. Still to come on the WINN Weekender, Dr. Ralph Gonsalves blames the St. Kitts and Nevis opposition for the delay in the tabling of the motion of no confidence, and Prime Minister Dr. Denzel Douglas stoutly defends his Labour Party government.
When it comes to building materials, hardware items, and home improvement supplies, if you want it, Portsmouth Building Center has got it, right, Mr. World?
That's what got the hardware. Yes, we got the hardware. Tools, we got it. Lumber, we got it. Cement, we got it. We got it. Steel, we got it. Paint, we got it. Devices, we got it. We got it. That's what got the hardware. Oh yes, we got the hardware.
For the best prices and best quality on all your home renovation and building material needs and more at Portsmouth Building Center.
We got it.
Welcome back. The Prime Minister of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Dr. Ralph Gonsalves, has blamed the opposition in Basseterre for the motion of no confidence in the Denzel Douglas-led administration not having been tabled to date. Ken Richards has more.
According to Prime Minister Ralph Gonsalves, Opposition Alliance Team Unity should never have taken the matter to court. Dr. Gonsalves, the current CARICOM chairman, expressed his views on the matter on WINN FM's The Bigger Picture. The regional grouping has been criticized for largely ignoring the no-confidence motion stalemate in St. Kitts and Nevis. The motion is yet to be tabled after 15 months.
We have had commentaries on it. I have written a letter outlining the position, and I made the point in that case that the length of time where you have a vote, a motion of no confidence, it creates an unease. It's a long time. But the point is this. The opposition did not treat the issue as a political question, simpliciter. They decided to put the matter in the courts. Once you go there, you have the court has its own timetable, its own scheduling. And that is what it has become. The opposition in St. Kitts has become a prisoner of its own tactics.
But Dr. Gonsalves, it's not as simple as that. They didn't go to the court from day one. They went to the court after several months when this thing was not being put before the parliament. Also, there have been several legal minds who have suggested that the matter being in court does not prevent it from being heard. The High Court judge in February ruled just that. He said there's nothing preventing it being put before parliament.
Listen to me. Listen to me. The point I'm making is this. From the time you put the matter in the court, you afford the other side the opportunity to say, listen, this matter is in the court. That's where you have gone.
the judge says that you don't even have to come back, because if you come back, that is what I was telling. All the arguments for the substantive matter was presented to the judge. They were presented. There's nothing new to present. If they go back to the court, it's the same presentation they will make, and the judge says you will get the same answer.
Like the ruling party in Basté, Prime Minister Gonzalez contends that the High Court ruling that there is no impediment to the motion of no confidence being tabled is not the final judgment on the matter. He's also reiterating the Labour Party argument that former senior government ministers Dr. Timothy Harris and Sam Conda, who defected from the party, should resign and seek a fresh mandate, even though there is no such stipulation in the Constitution.
If you are in a political party, you are elected on the basis of a party program. The case of Dr. Harris and Mr. Condor. They had a choice to, in this matter politically, resign their seats and run back in the by-elections. Had they done that and won their seats, which they claim that they would have managed, the Douglas administration would have been forced to go to the polls because they would have just lost 2 by-elections. Politically, the pressure would have been unbearable.
I'm Ken Richards for the WINN Weekender.
St. Kitts and Nevis Prime Minister Dr. Denzil Douglas this past week said his party was put in government with 60% of the popular vote in 2010, and he doesn't intend giving up because 2 former colleagues have moved away from the governing Labour Party. More from this Ken Richards report.
The call comes in the wake of Prime Minister Denzil Douglas describing as a joke an attempt by 6 opposition MPs to get Governor General Sir Edmund Lawrence to respond to their letter explaining that the 6 now represent the majority of elected parliamentarians in the House. They contended that the Prime Minister has lost the right to govern because he no longer has the support of the majority of elected representatives. The Governor-General has to date been silent on that matter, and the opposition leader in the federal parliament, Mark Brantley, says that is just not good enough.
The Governor-General, as head of state, has been advised since, I believe, the 13th day of February, that the majority of elected parliamentarians do not support the Prime Minister and indeed support the Honorable Timothy Harris. That is a fact. That is not something that you can run away from. His Excellency has chosen not to respond. We are not sure why, because clearly, with some indication such as that, he has an obligation to respond to the opposition to indicate his position. He has not responded, but perhaps the Prime Minister is now speaking for the Governor-General. I'm hopeful that that is not the case, and that the Governor-General will in fact exercise his authority as head of state.
A defiant Prime Minister Douglas warned this week that any attempts to remove him from office on the premise being advanced by opposition alliance Team Unity would be stoutly resisted.
This nonsense about some people being elected and crossing a floor, and then because they are now a majority, they claim, of elected representatives on the opposite side, that the Governor-General must respond and appoint one of them as the new Prime Minister. It's a joke. It cannot happen in St. Kitts and Nevis. I want to repeat that cannot happen in St. Kitts and Nevis. No Governor-General is constitutionally empowered to take that action. And if that action is taken, the Labour Party will demonstrate who is in charge and who really has the majority of support in this country.
According to opposition leader Brantley, the Governor-General should address the matter in his capacity as head of state. Brantley insists, despite the opposite view held by the Prime Minister, that the Governor-General has a role to play in the current impasse.
Well, I don't know that I agree with the Prime Minister. The reality is that the constitutional mandate on the Governor-General is for him to appoint as Prime Minister the person who, in his opinion, commands the majority of support of elected members. Admittedly, that is said after an election. But what happens if after an election at some point the balance of power shifts, as has happened? And so what is the Governor-General to do? In my opinion, he cannot simply stick his head in the sand like an ostrich and ignore it. And if indeed his view is that he cannot now remove a Prime Minister who does not command a majority, then he ought to say so. not have the Prime Minister speaking for him. That is unacceptable.
The Prime Minister also contends that his Labour Party won 60% of the popular vote in the last election in 2010 and says he won't allow the SKNLP to be pushed aside because two of his former ministers are dissatisfied with his leadership. Mark Brantley is challenging the Prime Minister to test that support in a conclusive manner. I'm Ken Richards for the WINN Weekender.
The Boundaries Commission case has been taken off Friday's High Court session and postponed to a later date. In court Thursday, late submissions were taken into consideration, with Justice Darshan Ramdani agreeing to put the case off with the possibility of it being heard in late May. It had been scheduled to be heard on April 4th. A recap of some of the top stories in the WINN Weekender. Tragedy hits the St. Christopher Air and Seaports Authority after unfortunate accidents claim 3 lives. And police in Nevis foil robbery attempt after shootout in Barnes Gut. This has been the WINN Weekender. On behalf of the WINN TV News team, I'm Tony Frederick Armstrong.